Hi guys, Phil from Sim Racing Bible here, and welcome back to another video, and to a brand new segment which we are going to call Traco Tuesday. Yeah, it's a terrible pun, but it's all my wife's doing, so she can have complete ownership of that particular pun. She can have that all that she likes. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through a track, and we're going to do a bit of a track guide for you and help you to maybe get a little bit quicker and to learn some more basics of tracks and how to take corners, and how to approach certain corners on the track as well. So the track we're going to start off with is one of my all-time favourites, and that is the Oulton Park Circuit. So what we need to do first is to check out the layout and where we're going. So handily enough, here we are. This is on iRacing, so this is looking down on the track from above. We've got our track highlighted there. So we're going to take a look at the track now and just figure out what we need to be looking out for and what kind of things we can expect when we go out onto the circuit. Now this particular circuit I have driven myself personally in real life, so I know what it's like to go around here, and I can tell you that it relates very well on iRacing in terms of the actual layout and how the track goes up and down, the undulations, etc. It's set in a parkland type setting. It's a very picturesque circuit, lots of trees and lots of undulations as well. It goes up and down quite a lot, which makes for some very interesting corners and some fantastic things to try and learn and drive. So when you're looking at a brand new track, the first thing to look out for any particular corners which you think might be causing any issues. So looking down from above, obviously you can tell that there's a couple of sharper corners. So this one here, this chicane complex here possibly could be a bit tricky. Everything else, and maybe this hairpin right here, look like they could cause a little bit of interest. Everything else seems to be fairly straightforward, standard radius type corners. But what we need to actually be aware of is that there are certain corners on this track which are more important than others. Now the reason they're more important is not because they are faster or because they are harder or more difficult to use. The most important thing when you're looking at corners is what is coming up after them. So for example, the important corners on this track are Old Hall, the first corner, Cascades here, Shell Oils Hairpin to a lesser degree, that chicane there, and the exit to the Knickerbrook chicane there. Those are the most important corners. Why? Because they have straights after them, which if you don't get the corner right, you're going to lose speed all the way down that straight and you're going to lose lap time. So this particular one here, Cascades, is particularly difficult. It's a very fast sweeping downhill left-hander. There's a lot of camber which kind of sucks you into the corner as well. But the amount of speed you take through Cascades will take you all the way down the island straight here. And if you don't carry enough speed through this bit here, you will not carry enough speed towards the end. It will relate in an even bigger margin at the end here. Likewise here, the Fulston chicane or the Britain chicane, this particular section of track here goes over a very steep crest. So in order to get the best speed coming down towards the Knickerbrook chicane and carry the speed and the momentum up the hill, you need to have a good exit out of here to be able to make the most of it. Same situation applies here on the exit of Knickerbrook. There's a sharp uphill rise here underneath Clay Hill, underneath the bridge. So as you come out of Knickerbrook, you need to get the power down nicely so you can carry that speed all the way up that hill and over towards Druids. These corners here, they're still important, but they don't have the same kind of weight of importance in terms of lap time as these other corners here that are highlighted. Now, those are the important corners that we need to look out for. However, each of these individual corners have their own challenges and unique attributes that you need to be aware of so that you can make sure that you're quickest through the corners you can possibly be. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump onto the simulator now, and we're going to take you around corner by corner and show you the entry points, the apex points, where your track out points are, and what you need to be looking out for in individual corners. So let's jump into the sim now. So here we are in the pit lane at Oulton Park, and the car we're going to be using today for our track guide is the venerable Mazda MX5. Now I've chosen this particular car because it's a nice low-powered sports car. It's easy to drive, but when you're looking to learn a new track, you want something that's easy to drive, so you're not focusing on keeping the car on track. It's nice and straightforward, and you can go and learn all your lines, learn the corners as you want to without having to focus on the car itself. But before we jump on track in the car, the great thing about iRacing is we can take a virtual tour of the circuit itself. So let's go out and find turn 1. So we'll just fly over this way. So here we go, this is over towards Oulton Park, turn 1, which is Old Hall Corner. Now let's just rewind here a little bit, because on the run down to Old Hall, I'm just going to do something illegal here, let's go the wrong way on the circuit, which is unadvisable. So as you come down to Old Hall, this is the view here. So as you're down in the car, you'll be a bit lower than this, but you can actually see that the track dips down in front of you here. So the first thing you want to make sure is it's obviously a right hand corner, so you want to be setting yourself up on the left hand side, as far left as you can possibly get. You can see by the track here that they've actually extended the track slightly in recent times, so they have a little bit more room on the entrance of the corner to open that corner up a little bit more. So you set yourself up on the outside here on the left hand side of the circuit, and just as you get into about here, you can start to see the apex of the corner coming towards you. It's cambered again, so you want to make sure you get yourself into the apex here nice and early so you can make the most of that camber as it comes up, which helps sucks you around the corner. Now the thing with Old Hall Corner is it's a very high speed corner really for what it is. It's actually a 90-degree corner, but because of the camber you can take a lot of speed through there. But what that means is that if you're carrying a lot of speed, it's very easy to run over here and off onto the grass. Numerous cars have done that in the past, but that's not what we want to be doing. So viewing from above, it's a fairly standard radius corner, so we want to come in and make sure we get ourselves nice and early into the apex to capture the speed on the way up and not running too far out onto the curb. And because it's a high speed corner and it's quite technical to do, you want to make sure you're capturing all the speed that you can. So now running on down to the second corner, this is down towards Cascades. Now before you get to Cascades there's this little right hand kink just on the top of a crest here. It's blind as you come up to it, so you can't actually see Cascades itself, but you want to make sure you're hitting the apex on this curve on the right here before you plunge downhill towards Cascades. Again, you set yourself up on the opposite side of the corner, so you're on the far right side of the corner before you turn in, and then you can see the camber of the corner here, so you really want to get yourself in nice and early, take that apex, and then leave the car to run wide on the exit there. Again, running wide on the exit, there's a little bit of AstroTurf here as you can see, but you don't want to be running onto that because it'll suck you out onto this grass here, which is very, very bumpy, and then you're in all sorts of strife coming out of there. So let's have a look at the corner in reverse here. So you can see how much of a gradient's involved here because of how quickly we're going uphill. So it just drops away just on the entrance here, and that's quite easy for the car to get unsettled going through here. There's a little bump here. This is your braking point here. So most cars, you're braking on or around this little drop, so you kind of come over to the little crest on the right hand side there, and there's another drop away, and that's where you'll be hitting the brakes. So you'll be on the brakes here in a nice straight line, and then trailing the brakes all the way in to the apex before about here you can start looking to start reapplying the throttle as you come through the rest of the corner, and then gradually apply full throttle as you reach the end of the corner. And as I said, that's one of the most important corners on the circuit because it leads onto this very long lakeside straight right here. A couple of undulations built in. So then we approach Island Bend, which is this one here. This corner is not flat out, even in a low-speed Mazda MX5, so you'll be offering a little bit of braking just as you come up to this point, and then you really want to get a nice gentle curve through here. You don't want to do any sudden movements on the steering because the moment you put any extra unnecessary stress on the tyres, it'll just shock the whole car and you'll just want to react in a way which you won't want it to. So the smoother you are with your inputs on these faster corners, the more stable your car will be, and you'll be able to carry that speed much better around the corner. So when you come out of this corner, you kind of want to be mid-track. You don't want to have to run all the way out to the right hand side of the track because that'll leave you compromised for the corner which is immediately following, which is Shell Oil's hairpin. So you want to come out mid-track here and then gradually ease yourself back over to the left hand side of the circuit again. Heavy braking because you're carrying a lot of speed at this point. The island hairpin itself is quite heavily banked, so it actually raises the speed quite a lot as you come through the hairpin. Again, there's a little bit of a crest on the exit there, so let's go back over here, admiring the view of the lake over here. So set yourself up on the left hand side, turn in nice and early to make the most of that camber. Keep yourself nice and low on the corner. Keep it close to that curb on the inside as well before letting it run out to the left of the track here. Bit of oil down here, as you can see. There's a bit of cement dust to help clean things up, so that's shell oil's hairpin. It's not quite as bad as that sign there, but there is a chicane coming up here. There's a right-handed kink just before you come to that. That's taken flat out, and as soon as you come around there, as soon as you straighten up the car, that's when you want to be on the brakes. You don't want to be braking when you're turning, because that's when the car's going to get all unsettled and all over the place. So brake in a straight line, head for this first curb here. This is quite a large curb, and there's some tyre bundles on the insides of both the left and the right hander here, so which you definitely don't want to be hitting. So accuracy is key here. Now this first curb's quite large, so it's quite easy for the car to pop up on two wheels as you go over this curb, and especially the next curb as well. So over that first curb, and you want to straight line it from there to the next one here. From here, as we mentioned on our initial look over the circuit, this is one of the important corners on the track, because as you come out of here, this is the hill you're dealing with. It's a very steep hill all the way up over the top there, so you want to make sure that you're carrying as much speed as you can through this section. However, with that said, this first left-hander is pretty much a corner to nothing. It doesn't matter how fast you take that corner, because if you come in here barreling along at a speed which is far too much for the corner, all it's going to do is leave you compromised for this next right-hander, because you'll be on the brakes, you'll be sideways possibly, and that's going to slow all your momentum, and then you're just going to lose it all the way up that hill then. So this first corner here, this little left, is a corner to nothing really. So all you need to do is focus on getting around there, but getting around it safely and in a stable manner so that the car is ready and set up for this right-hander which is going to follow. So with that taken care of, you're off and out the corner and up the hill. So we come up over hilltop, and then we start to plunge back downhill again towards Knickerbrook. So here we go, got some braking markers on the left here. 100 metre board is usually about right for braking into this corner, so you can kind of gauge your distance here. So start braking before the 100 metre mark, and then if you're finding you're braking too early, you can start to move that braking point further towards the corner. So again, setting yourself up on the left hand side of the circuit, we have these tyre bundles to deal with on the apexes of the right and the left. So this is a right, left, right chicane. Similar principle to the last chicane in that this first right-hander here is a bit of a corner to nothing. You don't want to take too much speed through here, because if you go too fast into here, you'll find yourself on this side of the track here, and then instantly you're trying to turn left, and that's not going to make a very easy trajectory around that corner. So when you come around the first section here, you want to make sure that you're keeping your car mid-track. So that means that the corner next to it, with the left-hander here, actually opens up a little bit more, so you can take even better speed through this corner here. Again, accuracy is key because of these tyre bundles. You really don't want to be hitting them because you're going to be in all sorts of problems. So you're going to come out of here again about mid-track, and then this is the important part of the chicane. This is the last part which runs up Clay Hill. So you want to set yourself up on the left-hand side here. The corner drops away from you, so as you come into the right-hander here, you hit the apex nicely here, and the corner does drop away, and then you're looking for your track exit point just there. So let's just see where you're aiming for when you come out of there. So you're setting yourself up on this side, you come into here, and you can see straight ahead of you there's a couple of trees. You know that if you've got your apex right, you're looking directly at those trees as you come and hit the apex. So then out of the corner, off up towards Clay Hill. This is why this particular corner is important, because again, another steep hill as you come up underneath the Yokohama Bridge. Now you're heading towards the Druids section of the circuit. In real life, this section is quite tricky because it's mostly shaded under the trees. If there's been any rain around at all, this is the last section of the track to dry out. So it can be a little bit less grip than you would expect from the rest of the lap. So it's very easy to catch you out. So left-handed kink here. You're flat out around here, and then you'll be looking to brake in a straight line once you've come around this left-hander. So again, set yourself up on the left-hand side of the circuit because it's a right-handed corner, and Druids is a double apex right-hander. There's not an awful lot of runoff on the exit there, so when you get it wrong here, you get it wrong, and it's not a good result. So you want to be hitting this first section here. You don't necessarily need to go straight in for this curb here. Mid-track is about fine. If you aim yourself about here and then look to catch the second apex right there, because as it comes out of the corner there's a little rise here. You can see that? There's a slight rise as you come out of the corner. In higher powered cars, when you come off here, the steering tends to go a little bit light. You tend to have a bit of a wobble as you come over there. But in the MX5 we probably won't have that. So just to recap on that one, as you exit the first little kink here, keep yourself to the left hand side of the track. Look to take this first part here about mid-track, which opens up your run to the second part as you hit that apex on the inside, and then crest the rise onto the exit of the track right there. Now we're running down towards Lodge Corner. This particular section is really cool because there's lots of lumps and bumps. You kind of up and down. It's like on a bit of a roller coaster as you come over this section here. This little braking marker on the side here, it's not really a braking marker, it's just a corner marker telling you that there's a right-hander corner coming up, but it's useful for a braking marker. And you want to be braking in or around here, so again, gauge yourself, make sure that you're slowing down in good time, and then slowly move those braking markers further and further towards the corner to make sure that you're maximising your straight line speed, because the earlier you brake, obviously the slower you're going to go because you're not carrying as much speed into that braking zone. So the shorter your braking zones can be, the quicker your lap times will be, because you're spending more time on the lap at higher speeds. So on the brakes again in a straight line, left hand side of the track, marshal's post on the left hand side there, and just after that you want to be looking to set yourself up. So again, the cambered corner, the apex is lower than the outside of the corner, and because of the exit of this corner you want to make sure you're sucked right in onto this apex, because as you can see the track rises and then drops away dramatically down here into Deer Leap. Again, it's very easy, if you take too much speed you'd be over this direction here, which is not good for your lap time or your health. So let's have another look at that one at speed. So set yourself up on the left, keep it nice and tight to the apex, and as you crest this rise here, you want to be dropping down there, so you want to make sure that you're not taking too much speed but carrying enough as you can, because as you come through here you're cresting Deer Leap, straight lining this as much as possible. There's a nice big tree on the left hand side here to run you close, which is fun, but you'll be aiming directly towards the control tower there, which is race control. And then start finish straight, which isn't particularly straight, it's got a bit of a left-hander kink to it, and then that's it, we're back over the line. And that's a lap of Oulton Park. So all that's left to do is to get the car out and see how it goes on track. Okay, so here we are in our little MX5. So let's take our car out on track and see how it goes. So the pin end exit on the inside of Old Hall here. So as you can see, the car's nice and slow to be able to take it all in, so we're not going to go too mad on this first lap. So we are approaching Cascades here. So there's that little bump I was talking about. Going to get the car tucked in nice and early before letting it run out onto the right hand side over there. Probably a bit too close to the exit because I had an off track there, but you want to make sure you're on that curb, not anywhere over the top of it. Island corner, keep it over to the left hand side on the apex there, let it run out to the middle of the track, and then on the brakes down to third for the Shadow Wheels hairpin. Get that car tucked in on the camber, look for your exit point. Again here, nice and fast around here, look for your curb there, straight over here, and then make sure you maximise that run off the chicane, up over a hilltop. So here we go, Knickerbrook. Get yourself over to the left, aim yourself up there, make sure you're mid-track coming out of that first bit. Again, mid-track coming out of here, over to the left to maximise your run up the hill. Now that apex is very difficult to spot actually, because it kind of is just below the level of the track, so you almost have to turn in knowing it's there, but just aiming for the right spot. So here's Druids, so over the left hand side, missed that first bit. Aim for the second part of the apex, which is that one there, and let it run over the top of the crest onto the curb on the outside. And then down to Lodge Corner. Look for your apex point, turn in, hit that apex, and just wait for the track to come into vision before you're flat out over the line. So this is Oulton coming up now. As we said, on the left hand side this is a quick corner, so I'm going to leave it in fourth gear here, turn it in, get that apex, and then run it out to the curb on the exit there. So we're going to pick the pace up a little bit now and start to push through the speed that we can take through these corners. So you see there how easy it is if you take too much speed to run off on the exit of Cascades there. So Island Bend, keep it on the left hand side, mid-track, over to the left, down to third, get the apex, get the car tucked in nicely here. To Britain Chicane, look for your first curb, hit that, open up the second part, and then early on the power so you can get the momentum up over the top of the hill. Down to Knickerbrook again, 100 metre mark on the left, down to third, spot your turn-in point, just get yourself through those first two, over to the left, play with the throttle on the exit there, up to Druids, flat out left, over to the left hand side, leave it in fourth, missed the first one, just about grab the second one, and then let it run over to the left hand side of the track. Large corner, down to third, turn in, get the power on. You know the track's going to be there on the exit, so you've just got to believe that it's there. Okay, so let's see if we can go a little bit quicker then. So again, first corner, leave it in fourth. See how easy it is to run over that curb there. The curb comes up so quickly on the exit. See how early you can get on the power through Cascades. Because of that camber, it really helps pull the car around, so you can get on the throttle nice and early and help maximise your run onto the straight here. Probably a little bit wide on the exit of Island Bend there. A compromise or run through the hairpin there, as you saw. We kind of had to manage the car more than we needed to. There we go. Let's try and carry a bit more speed in this time. And the power nice and early. So when you try and overdrive it out of there, that's what happens. It's very easy for the car to go sideways because of the way the track drops away from you. So you've got to be patient with the throttle. Again there, the importance of getting the car tucked into that second apex. You can see how much it washes out on the left hand side of the track there. And again, because of the way the track falls away from you, it's easy to get the car sideways out of there. So let's try and neaten things up a little bit. So that's a couple of examples of what happens when you push just that little bit too hard. But if you focus on your points that you're looking for, make sure that you're looking for your apexes and your track out points as soon as possible. The most important thing is vision. So the further you look down the circuit in front of you, the smoother you'll drive and the more prepared you'll be for whatever's coming up next. The second gear is probably a bit too low down there. Just need to maximise the run in third. So there you go, just had to balance the car a little bit through there, so I had a little dab of brake just to settle the car on the turn-in, because when you try and change direction that quickly it can very easily catch you out and just throw a little bit of oversteer into the equation. So let's move the braking point a little bit further in on this one. So that was probably a little bit too far because I ended up having to wait to get back on the throttle again. So you want to get all your braking done in good time so you're not running on too far into the corner. It's a better run through there, there we go. So we're carrying much more speed out of there. So round the little kink here on the brakes, just on the drop. Leave it in fourth this time rather than going all the way up to fifth. Just about got away with it, a little bit of dancing on the exit. Okay, third gear is probably a little bit better. Let's see if we can maximise our run out of here a bit more. So it's possibly overslowed into that first section there. But it meant that I was able to get on the throttle a lot earlier and help to try and carry some speed onto the straight. It's so fun through there. But that being said, if you're carrying too much speed and you're going sideways out of that corner, you're only scrubbing off speed on the way up the hill. So I've taken that first apex there, and although it looks like I got through there okay, the exit speed's probably a little bit lower because I haven't been able to get on the throttle as early as I would like to. Hooked a wheel on the curb on the inside there, that's what caused the oversteer mid-corner. It's the importance of making sure you're not taking too much apex curb. And there we are, so that's a few laps of Oulton Park. Hopefully you've picked up some useful tips on how to go quicker around here. If you have any tips of your own, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and how you like to drive and what you found works for you. And remember that not all driving styles are the same, so although I'm driving reasonably well here, this isn't as well as I could do if I was fully concentrating on what I was doing. But there's always room for improvement for everybody, and that's the great thing about racing, is that it's not just a case of jumping in and you're instantly on the pace and everything's great. There's always something to work on. But this circuit is a lot of fun, it's very technical, and there's a lot to learn in the various different corner combinations. Knickerbrook in particular is good fun. So that's a better run out of there, so I'm not as sideways and able to keep the power down and keep the momentum going. Because in the lower powered cars, momentum is the most important thing to maintain. It's a better exit out of there. Again, too late on the brakes into Lodge corner. But there we go, that's our track guide for Oulton Park. We hope you enjoyed that. One of the other useful things that you can probably find handy for yourselves is if you can use a delta time. You can see where you're gaining time, where you're losing time. If you're going in too fast into a corner, you can see the gains that you make on the way in, but then you lose on the way out. You can also see if you're gaining time on the way out as well by making some changes to your lines or your braking or your speed going into a corner. So using a delta meter is very, very useful for that kind of learning and making sure that you're maximising your speed. But there you go, there's our track guide of Oulton Park. If you like what you've seen, give our video a like, and also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new content which is coming out soon. But until next time, see you soon.